Hi guys! So now we're going to look at how we're going to adapt the text. So remember right at the beginning of this process, I said that we were going to learn the main structure of the story and we're going to hug that tightly but change a few bits of it. So on my version of the story, one snail went on an adventure. On your version of the story, all the snails are going to go on the adventure. So we're going to hook the structure of the story really closely. So it's going to be pretty much exactly the same. You're just going to make a few changes, which are these. So the whole flock of snails is going to clamber on to the whale's tail. They are going to visit China, a mystical forest, and the Discovery Garden, the school one. Something is going to go wrong, like in my story, but you're going to get to choose what happens. And then the snails are all going to go home and they're going to tell another animal about their adventure. So here you can see the opening of my text map. Now you've got this on your sheet, okay? So I'm going to model how I would do this. And then you're going to be able to do the exact same thing. If you want to use my suggestions for the first time, you can do. Then you can change the problem, the build-up, etc. So using the sheet and using the word bank that you have there, I know I'm going to put my yellow post-its on to some certain areas. If you don't have yellow post-its, by the way, don't worry, just use some scraps of paper or something or jot down some ideas, that's fine. So I've made some kind of makeshift yellow post-its. So it's no longer one snail going on a journey, it's all the snails. So I'm going to swap that one snail to lots of snails, okay? So one night, lots of snails were sleeping on the smooth black rock. So it's no longer a snail longed to go on an adventure, it's the whale came back and told them about the adventure. The snails looked at one another and they all clambered on to the whale's humongous tail. So there I've made sure I've got in my expanded noun phrase. So it's not just a tail, it's a humongous tail. Now for this bit, I could have kept it exactly the same, that the whale sang them a song of shimmering ice, coral caves, shooting stars and ginormous waves. But because we've been playing about with expanded noun phrases, I thought it'd be quite nice to keep the structure the same, but just change the adjective. So instead of shimmering ice, I've got gigantic ice. Instead of coral caves, I've got serene caves. Instead of shooting stars, I've got sparkling stars. And instead of enormous waves, I've got terrifying waves. Then, of course, the first place that the snail visits isn't the fiery volcano, it's China. So, a colossal ancient wall. Now, once I've got these decisions made, that is when we're going to move on to drawing our own text map. However, I have done quite a few changes here. It may be that you only want to do one or two. And as we go through, I will show you the bits that need changing. The rest can stay absolutely the same. Remember, you've spent all of that time practicing and rehearsing the text map, okay? So if you only feel comfortable making a couple of changes, that is perfectly okay. However, if you're feeling a bit more adventurous and a bit more confident and you want to make more changes like I have, that's absolutely okay too. So the next thing that I did was I drew a text map that was like that. So the reason that I've done this is just to make sure that I've got the structure in my head. I know what I'm going to say, and it also makes it a little bit neater so I don't start making mistakes. Now, when you come to do your text map, I hope you can see from mine that they're really rough drawings. They are not masterpieces by any stretch of the imagination. However, by looking at these pictures, I can see that for my 5 sentences, I've got one night, lots of snails were sleeping on a smooth black rock. The whale came and told them of an amazing adventure. The snails all clambered on to the humongous whale's tail. The whale sang of gigantic icebergs, serene caves, sparkling stars, and terrifying waves. First, they visited an ancient colossal wall. So really simply, just from a few pictures, a few rough drawings, I have got the main structure of the first part of my story, the opening. Next, we move on to writing. So in this next little video clip, I'm going to show you the process that I went through to write my opening. Have a look. Okay, so now that I have drawn my text map, I'm going to use this to begin to write my opening. So I can see that the first sentence says, "One night, lots of snails were sleeping on the smooth black rock." So I'm going to have a go at writing it. So, one night, lots of snails were sleeping on the smooth black rock. Okay, then it says the whale and the snail came and told them about their adventure. So the whale and the snail came and told them about their adventure. Full stop. Now, before I go on, I've written two of the sentences. I'm just going to have a look through and check that it makes sense. So I've got my capital letter at the beginning. So one night, lots of snails were sleeping on the smooth... Oh, I've missed out a comma. I'm going to put that in for blue. Smooth black rock. Hang on a minute, there's a full stop there and there's not one there. So I'm going to need to put that there, and that means if I've got a full stop there, I'm absolutely going to need to change that to a capital letter. So one night, lots of snails were sleeping on the smooth black rock. The whale and the snail came and told them about their adventure. About their adventure. I think I'm going to turn that into an expanded noun phrase, and I'm going to put amazing. About their amazing adventure. And I've got my full stop there. Right, I can keep writing. So, all the snails clambered on the humongous tail. So, all the snails clambered on the humongous tail. Okay, then I've got the whale sang a song of gigantic icebergs, and I'm going to stop there once I've written that. So the whale sang a song of, what did he sing a song of? Oh yeah, gigantic icebergs. And it's a list of things, so I need a comma, Serene Caves, comma, sparkling stars and terrifying waves. Okay, so let me have a look. So all the snails clambered on the humongous tail. Wait a minute, that doesn't look like the right tail. That looks like a story tail, not a whale's tail. Oh my goodness, silly Miss Rachel. So we've got tail like that. So the whale sang a song of gigantic icebergs, serene caves, sparkling stars, ooh, and terrifying waves. Okay, let me read it all through now. So, one night, lots of snails were sleeping on the smooth black rock. The whale and the snail came and told them about their amazing adventure. All the snails clambered on the humongous tail. The whale sang a song of gigantic icebergs, serene caves, sparkling stars, and terrifying waves. And I've just realised I've missed an I off that there. Honestly, silly me. So, and then the final sentence. First, they visited an ancient colossal wall. So, first, they visited an ancient, right in the comma, colossal wall, full stop. And there's my opening. Fabulous. Right, so now we've written it, we've written the opening. So you're going to have to do the same thing for each part of the story, okay? So for the build-up, what's going to change is the snails are going to visit a mystical forest and the Discovery Garden. So in my story, they went to Antarctica and they went through gigantic waves with zigzag lightning. So these are the bits that you're going to have to change, okay? So the Antarctica turns into the mystical forest and the waves with zigzag lightning turns into the Discovery Garden. Now, just as a bit of a side note, the work on adjectives and expanded noun phrases that I got you to do included a picture of the Great Wall of China, the mystical forest, and the Discovery Garden, and you had to write a sentence. Rather than doing all that hard work again, why not use those sentences in this part to help you? So the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to think about the changes you want to make. You're then going to draw your own text map, and then you're going to write your version using that text map. Finally, just like I did, you're going to check for any mistakes. Now, one thing that I would recommend that you do is each day you come back to this video and look at this again, just to remind you of the things that you need to change. So once you've done the build-up, it'll then be time for the problem. So this time the whale gets stuck somewhere, and he did say that you get to decide where he gets stuck. So in this text map, the bit that you're going to have to change is this bit. So in my version of the story, lots of people were being loud on jet skis and the screeching noise made him get stuck on the beach. We're at the Discovery Garden. So could it be all the children at NUAS that are being noisy and get him stuck on the Discovery Garden maybe? Or does something else happen? Does he get tangled up in pondweed and can't get free? It's your story, so you can choose what you would like to happen. Remember, you're going to follow the exact same structure. First of all, you're going to make the changes by thinking about all your different ideas. Then you're going to draw your own text map. Then you're going to write your own version using the text map. And finally, you're going to check for your mistakes. So on the next day, you're going to have a go at doing the resolution. You're going to do the exact same thing. So in this story, pretty much everything is going to stay the same, apart from it's not just one snail that makes its way to the school, it's lots of snails. And our school isn't in a bay. It might be that you're under the ring road or over Abbey Bridge. So the bits that you're going to change are the bay and also who comes to help. So in my version of the story, it was the firemen, the police and local villagers. In our version, however, in your version, I thought it would be nice if maybe it was Mr. Parry, Miss Bealey and Mrs. Hollis that came to help, or your class teacher or children in your class that came to help. Pick your own heroes, make it your own story. Again, you're going to make sure that you follow this sequence. You're going to use your ideas to change my text map. Then you're going to draw your own text map. Then you're going to write your version using your text map. And finally, you're going to check for any mistakes. At the very end, we come to the ending. So all of the snails return home. Now, in my story, the one snail returned home and told the other snails about the adventure. In your story, all of the snails are going to return home and tell another animal. It might be a seagull or a starfish. Who knows? It's your story. So the bits that you're going to change are, here we go. So it's not one snail that went home, it's all of the snails. And all of the snails are going to tell another animal about their brave and heroic journey. So again, you're going to follow the same sequence. You're going to think about the changes that you want to make. Then you're going to draw your own text map. Finally, you're going to write your own version using the text map and then check for any mistakes. Now, the most important bit is making sure that you've edited your work. So when I say make sure you check for mistakes, what you need to be looking for is, have you got capital letters and full stops? Are your year 2 words spelt correctly? And I've got a slide in a minute to show you. Have you included expanded noun phrases? And here are the year 2 words, the year 1 and 2 words that I would expect that you are able to spell correctly. If there are other words in your work that aren't spelt correctly, but they're phonetically plausible, so you've used your phonics to spell them, that's absolutely right. But have a look at these words. Have you spelt children correctly, for example? If you've used parents to come to the rescue, have you spelt parents correctly? Have you spelt Mr. and Mrs. right? People? Beautiful? Just take a look at these and go back through your work. Finally, your next stage is you're going to use each of these parts to write your final text. The one thing I'm going to say about this is you've put a lot of effort into writing those 5 different parts and you've edited them. So use those to write your final piece. You're going to write each section out without your mistakes to create one whole story. Now, I understand your mummies and daddies are really busy and they can't be sending me all of your work. However, I would love to see your final stories. So please, 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 if you get a chance, could you ask your mummies and daddies to take a photo of your final story and send it to me? And I would love to see them. I'm missing you all loads. Bye-bye.